The bride's entry played for the third time on giant TV, her red lehenga swirling in slow motion, lights twinkling like fairy dust. She's married at the perfect age, one aunt declared, her eyes glued to the screen. 25, not too young to be foolish, not too old to be picky. Laughter followed. Meera sat stiffly at the edge of the dining table, a half eaten samosa on her plate, her fingers curling around her teacup. The room smelled of sweets and cardamom, but all she could taste was pressure. She's so lucky, another chimed in. Husband with a government job, good salary, respectful family. She's set for life. Unlike girls who just roam around chasing dreams, came a not so soft comment wrapped in a smile. Mira forced a laugh. Her mother didn't say much, but her sideways glance said enough. They're planning their first baby already, her cousin said proudly. Look at how perfectly things are falling into place for them. Then came the usual updates. One cousin was planning a destination wedding in Bali. Another was pregnant with a second child. A third had just moved into a new house with her husband, who apparently got promotion, and now everyone in the colony looked up to him. Mira stared at her plate. The voices around her felt too loud. Her tea had gone cold. She opened her phone under the table and scrolled through notifications. A few friend requests from random guys on Instagram. She accepted them without thinking. Mira, her mom said softly beside her, you should start thinking seriously now. You are already 27. You don't want to wait too long, do you? Mira nodded silently, still staring at her phone. She tapped on one of her friend's profile. A picture from a beach wedding popped up. White flower, fairy lights, a glowing bride. Another friend had posted a baby's first laugh. Being a mom is the best feeling in the world, the caption read. Mira's chest tightened. She looked up. The conversation at the table hadn't stopped. It was still about husband, houses, gold bangles, babies. She said nothing, but inside she felt a little smaller. That night, Mira lay on her bed with the lights off, phone glowing in her hand. She wasn't tired, just restless. She opened a dating app she had downloaded months ago, but never used seriously. But now she was using it, not even knowing why. Maybe it was after her cousin's engagement. Maybe it was after her mom not so subtle comment about wanting to hold her grandchild soon. Her thumb moved through the profiles quickly. Engineer, banker, MBA, government clerk. Either way, there it was. Another profile, another conversation. The first guy she met was a fitness coach. He talked nonstop about protein shakes, workout routines, and how he could help her tone up a little. She smiled politely through the entire coffee meet. But the moment he said, "You must not have time for fitness with your photography hobby," she knew it was a no. The second one was a banker, very proper, very punctual. He wore a neatly ironed shirt and even bought a small gift, a notebook because she was a creative type. He was kind, but something about the way he kept checking his watch made her feel like she was just another meeting on his calendar. The third date was actually fun. A filmmaker with wild hair and even wilder stories. They laughed a lot that evening, but he ghosted her the next day. And when he resurfaced a week later, it was a "Hey, want to hang out tonight at 10 p.m.?" No explanation, no apology. Mira tried not to feel bad. Everyone had weird dating stories, but after a few more coffee dates and awkward small talk, the app started to feel like work. One evening, she deleted it. That was when her aunt introduced her to Rohit, the, ni- the nice guy with a stable government job. He was calm, respectful, always on time. Her parents approved instantly. He's the kind of man you can build a future with, they said. He didn't excite her, but he didn't annoy her either. He talked about saving plans and home loans. He even said she could continue her photography as a side thing. It wasn't terrible. So she kept seeing him. But sometimes, in the middle of the conversation about wedding venues or what's a good school zone, Mira would zone out, watching the sunlight fall across her teacup and wondering how she ended up there, building a life she wasn't sure she wanted. It was a small dinner at Mira's friend Tanya's house, just a few old college friends catching up, laughing over memories and passing a bowl of paneers and rotis around the table. Mira had brought Rohit along. She hadn't meant to really, but Tanya had insisted. Bring him, yaar. We all want to meet the mystery man. So he came. wearing a pale blue shirt, hair neatly parted, polite smile in place. By the end of dinner, he had already won them over. He's so sorted, Tanya whispered to Mira when she went to the kitchen to grab more plates. Seriously, you've got a gem. Another friend, Priya, chimed in. My cousin's husband is in the same department. Super secure life. Great benefits. You're set, Mira. Even her guy friends, who never commented on anyone, said, He's a good man, level headed. Lucky you. Mira smiled, nodding, thanking them. Rohit helped with the dishes, cracked a few safe jokes, and talked about his dream of owning a home in the hills someday. On the way home, he asked, Your friends seem to like me? They'll love you, she said. But later that night, lying in bed with her laptop dimly lighting the room, Mira stared at an unfinished photo edit. Her phone buzzed again. Tanya's message. Don't overthink. He's the kind you marry, Mira. Not the guy you let go. She stared at those words for a long time. Maybe this was it. Maybe not feeling fireworks was normal. Maybe comfort and stability were love. Maybe her ideas of adventure and connection were just stories. He was respectful. He had a government job. Everyone approved. What else could she possibly ask for? And just like that, without making any real decision, she started to believe what everyone else believed, that she had found her person. Mira sat by the train window, camera bag tucked beside her, earphones in but no music playing. The train moved gently through fields soaked in golden sunlight, tiny towns passing by like slow moving postcards. She was traveling from Delhi to Dehradun for 2 day shoot, a small pre-wedding project, but in a picturesque location. And for Mira, that was reason enough to say yes. She loved this part, moving between places, watching the world change every few hours. The way the air got cleaner, the trees taller, the buildings older. She captured it all. A child running barefoot on the platform, a tea stall lit with a single bulb, a flock of birds taking off against the setting sun. Her her eyes sparkled with every passing frame. She didn't say it loud, but this was her kind of peace. She had no idea why her heart felt so full, why her hands itched to click more pictures, why she wanted to get off at every other station just to breathe the place in. But she didn't question it either. When she reached Dehradun, her best friend Ashi was waiting at the station. Mira squealed and hugged her tightly. I can't believe you're here, Ashi said. 2 whole days. You better not disappear with your camera the whole time. I'll try, Mira laughed, though she already knew she'd sneak out early morning for shots if she could. Ashi's, Ashi's house was warm and bright, filled with baby toys and wall stickers of stars and alphabets. Her husband greeted Mira politely, offered tea, and went back to tending the toddler who had just started walking. You have lost weight, Ashi said, plopping down beside Mira on the couch later that night. I think it's the backpack life, Mira smiled. Ashi looked at her with a different kind of awe. I still remember how you used to say you'd leave out of a suitcase one day. You're really doing it. Yeah, Mira said softly, looking down at her cup. She hadn't thought about it that way in a while. Maybe because lately she was trying so hard to imagine a different version of herself. The one who stayed still and settled down. That night, as she lay on the floor mattress in Ashi's guest room, she thought of how just this morning she was in another state, watching a fisherman cast his net into a wide, silent lake. She didn't realize it yet, but the freedom she was trying to fold away to make room for a respectable life was already stitched into her soul. The morning sun crept in through the floral curtain, and Mina woke up to the sound of baby's soft cry, followed by Ashi's hurried footstep. She stretched, yawned, and looked around the small guest room. Everything was neat, carefully arranged, loved. But outside the door, life was already in full motion. Ashi was juggling breakfast, milk bottles, and her toddler who refused to wear pants. You should have slept more, Ashi said, tying her hair into a messy bun with one hand and feeding her child with the other. I'm good, Mira smiled. Want me to help? No, no, you rest. You have your shoot later. But Mira didn't sit. She stood by the kitchen door watching. There was something so quiet, yet heavy in the way Ashi moved, effortless on the outside, but tired in the eyes. She barely sat for a minute before something else called her name. By afternoon, Mira saw it all. The meal needed to be cooked, the clothes folded, the baby put to sleep, the fork cleaned again after a spill. Even stepping outside for a cup of tea seemed like a mission needing strategic planning. Around 5 p.m., Mira asked, "Let's go just to the chat place nearby." Ashi smiled, but shook her head. "Can't. It will be dark soon and I need to give Aryan his bath. Then feed him." Then she trailed off, not even needing to finish. Later that evening, as they sipped lukewarm tea on the balcony while the baby slept, Mira asked gently, "You still paint?" Ashi laughed, but it was hollow. "I haven't touched my brushes in months. I keep thinking I'll do it this weekend. Then there is groceries, some schoolwork, something or the other." Just then, her husband came in with a tired face and a bag of vegetables. Ashi quickly got up to put them away. A few minutes later, Mira heard low voices from the kitchen. Nothing loud, just sharp whispers. "I told you we shouldn't have agreed to the EMI right now. And I said we needed the fridge, Rahul. The old one had stopped working. We are running thin every month. I can't keep asking my parents." Mira didn't mean to listen, but the walls were thin. Ashi returned with a tired smile. "Sorry, we're just a little tight on budget these days. It's nothing serious." Mira nodded, not knowing what to say. That night, as Ashi quietly folded clothes while watching a YouTube video of someone hiking through the hills of Bhutan, she sighed, not loudly, just a tiny breath, like a thought that didn't know where else to go. "You okay?" Mira asked. Ashi looked at her and smiled. "Yeah, I'm good, just tired. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm missing something. I have everything: my home, my child, my husband's great. But I don't know why. I feel unfinished." Mira swallowed something in her throat. She stayed quiet for a while, then said, "Maybe it's because you forgot to leave some of yourself for you." The two friends sat in silence after that. Nothing more needed to be said. That night, Mira stared at the ceiling, heart pounding for no reason she could name. Then, slowly, she did know. It wasn't about Rohit being nice. He was. It wasn't about being 27. So what? It wasn't even wanting to get married. It was about being ready. And she wasn't. Not yet. Because there were still places she wanted to see, mornings she wanted to wake up in strange towns, art she wanted to make, and skies she wanted to chase. She wanted to fall in love, real, soul burning love. She wanted to grow into herself, not shrink into someone else's definition of settled. If Rohit was really meant for her, he would understand. He would wait. He would explore the world with her, not ask her to leave it behind. And if he wasn't, she would still be okay. Because readiness wasn't a clock ticking in someone else's voice, it was a quiet knowing in her own. The next morning, Mira stood on the railway platform, her camera bag slung over her shoulder, a soft scarf tied around her wind tossed hair. The sky was painted in sleepy shades of blue and orange. Just waking, just breathing. Her train was due in 10 minutes. She turned back for one last look. Ashi stood near the exit gate, baby on her hip, smiling wide despite the dark circles under her eyes. She waved, and Mira waved back, heart full, gratitude, affection, and a silver of ache. Mira raised her camera, framing Ashi against the rising sun, her smile glowing, her child clutching her tightly like the anchor he was. A mother, a warrior, a girl she once bunked school with, now carrying an entire world in her arms. Click. The picture, a quiet portrait of choices, would stay with her forever. Back on the train, Mira chose the window seat. The landscape rolled by: mustard fields, tiny tea shops, kids running barefoot behind cycles. Somewhere, a woman stood at the doorstep of her house, laughing with her head thrown back, her dupatta flying like a flag in the wind. Mira leaned her head on the window glass. She smiled. She didn't feel rushed anymore. Not to decide, not to settle, not to fit into someone else's version of on time. She had dreams, raw and untamed, waiting to be lived. Love would find her on the road. Maybe not in person first, but in sometimes like this. Quiet, wild, free. She, she scrolled through her camera, pausing at the picture of Ashi. She whispered to herself, "She is strong, and so am I. But my path is different, and that's okay." The train whistled. The wind lifted her scarf again. She didn't bother fixing it. She was in no rush to hold it all down anymore. 2 days after returning, Meera met Rohit at a quiet cafe near his office. He had taken time off just to see her. As always, he was polite, well dressed, and punctual. The kind of man everyone approved of. He smiled as she walked in. "You look tanned," he said lightly. "Traveled somewhere wild again?" She chuckled. "Just a small project near Dehradun. But yes, it was something." They chatted for a while. His recent office stories, her favorite shot from the trip. It was calm, comfortable even. But under the surface, Mira felt a current, pulling her towards something that needed to be said. "Rohit," she said gently, placing her cup down. "Can I ask you something honestly?" He looked up curious. "Of course." "If I told you I wasn't ready for marriage yet, what would you feel?" He blinked. "You mean you want more time, or you're not sure about me?" She hesitated, then exhaled. "I think it's more than just time. It's me. I thought I was supposed to be ready just because everyone around me is. But I'm not. Not really. I have dreams I still want to chase freely. I need to leave more of myself before I can promise to be someone else's partner fully." Rohit was silent for a moment. He looked at her, not hurt, just processing. "Is it something I did?" "No," she said quickly, sincere. "You've been nothing but kind. Maybe too kind. And that's why I needed to tell you this truly. Because I respect you, and I don't want to lie, neither to you nor myself." He nodded slowly, eyes softening. "So, what now?" Mira looked down, then up again. "Maybe we stop trying to fit into something just because it looks perfect from the outside. Maybe if something real is meant to grow between us, it will, naturally. And if not, at least we met each other at our full selves." He smiled faintly, a mix of understanding and loss. "You're braver than most people, Mira." "I don't feel brave. I just feel, finally, honest." They didn't cry. There was no drama, just two people choosing truth over comfort. As they stepped out, Mira took a deep breath of the cool evening air. She looked up at the sky, wide and endless. For the first time in a long while, she felt completely herself. And she was okay with not having it all figured out.